Welcome to the webinar. As everybody's coming on to the call, we're just opening it up, so people are just coming on. We'll give it just a second to have everything load, and we're getting ready to start. This is Verl Workman, and welcome to our Workman Success Marketing Makeover. We have an amazing webinar today with two incredible guests. I'm excited to share with you not only the great things that they're doing in their business in the past, but great things that are making an impact on their business going forward. It's pretty rare that you get a couple of seven-figure producers, people that earn over $1 million a year in their real estate business, that are willing to share with you the inside secrets on what they're really doing to drive business. And we have that exact thing for you today. So we're excited. We're looking forward to sharing with you some great content and great ideas. There's a lot of people on the call today, and we should be able to get through amazing content. I'm Verl Workman, CEO of Workman Success Systems, and it's a pleasure to be here today and to share with you a couple of our favorite coaching clients, as well as coaches, Zach Pasmanic and Trish Nash. They're going to be sharing with us seven-figure secrets and really creating a great marketing makeover. And sometimes you have to understand that what works today is a different spin on what used to work yesterday. It's doing it differently and messaging it correctly and attracting the right kinds of buyers and sellers. And so we're gonna jump right in, and let's roll up our sleeves and let's turn this on. For those of you that have questions, I just want to tell you that we have a couple of things that you should know. One is that both Trish and Zach are givers, and they're willing to share with you some amazing things, but you need to make sure you stay on to the end of the webinar, because they're going to give you some things that you'll have available as downloads that you'll be able to take away from the webinar and actually do. The second thing is they're both agreed to stay on and answer questions. So if you have any questions, go into your Q&A bar or into the Zoom chat where you can ask questions. The next thing I'm going to ask you to do is, my commitment to all of you is to provide with very valuable information that will help you move the needle in your business. But I need a commitment from each of you. And the commitment that I need from each of you is that as a result of being here today, I guess what I want to say, I'm thinking about this, but one of the most frustrating things to me as a coach and someone who gets to interview all these amazing people is that we share incredible information, and then I meet someone and they show up on the next monthly webinar, or they show up at a conference and they haven't done anything that they learned. And so they come to the webinars, they learn great things, but they don't actually execute or do something different. I would like each webinar, there's a lot of people on here today, to make a commitment to do something different with your marketing as a result of being here. Can I get you all to go into your webinar chat or your Q&A and just tell me that you're willing to make a commitment? I need to know how many of you are here to actually have change in your business as opposed to just hear something new. The difference I like to tell between people is, the difference between coaching and training, and Trish, you can appreciate this. When you train someone, they learn something new. Hey, I get to check the box off. I learned something new. But when you're coaching someone, we get them to actually do something different, something new, and that's where real change happens in your business, in your life. When you have the opportunity to share with people that generate over $1 million a year in income in the real estate business, and they're going to give you things that you can do, you have a choice to make. And the choice is whether or not you're willing to be committed to do something different. And that's what I need you to do today. We've got amazing people that are givers that are willing to share, but it's up to you to make the change. I see that we've got a lot of people, not even 20% of the group, willing to make changes. For the rest of you not willing to make changes, I hope you enjoy, from an entertainment value perspective, the content and information that we're sharing. So Zach and Trish, you guys ready to go? Should we blow this group away?
We're ready.
Ready.
All right, so first I want to introduce my good friend, Zach Pasmanic. Now, Zach is not your normal realtor. Zach's been a legend in real estate for more than 25 years, starting with Coldwell Banker and then moving his business to RE/MAX. Zach has been a top producing RE/MAX agent out of Atlanta, Georgia, with RE/MAX Greater Atlanta. It's been, I don't know how long ago was it you formed your team, Zach, but how long have you had a team?
Oh, I had my first assistant when I was with Coldwell Banker 35 years ago.
So what I love is that Zach's been doing teams 35 years ago before teams were even cool. And so he realized that in order to create leverage in his life, he needed people to implement all of his great ideas. It's kind of fun to walk down the hall with Zach at a RE/MAX conference or a CRS convention and see the people that want to come up and just have a piece of his knowledge and information. He has numerous awards and accolades. He's always been a top producer, and I love that he's served more than 6,000 clients in his career. 6,000 people are happy and have a place to live because of the service that Zach and his team have been able to provide. And so, Zach, thank you for being here today. And I wanted Zach to really help us focus on the marketing that he's doing to generate and create more listings. And so, Zach, first of all, thank you for being here. I appreciate you being on the webinar. Tell me why listings are so important to you. When did you start focusing on listings and why?
Oh, everybody loves listings because everyone else has to do the work. And, you get a listing, the buyer agent's going to sell it for you. So it's just, I like it. It's an easier job. If you list, you last, and next week will be 40 years.
If you list, you last. And, you've heard that. Everyone's heard that before. I love the listing side of the business because when you list houses, it generates opportunities for everybody else on your team. Do you mind telling us a little bit about what your team looks like today, Zach? How many buyers agents, listing partners you have?
I have 6 selling partners. I have 2 listing partners. I have 4 admin. Oops, sorry about that. I have 4 admin locally, and then I have 2 in the Philippines.
And so that's a great team. And can I ask you, if you don't mind, how much time you personally spend driving buyers around or going on listing appointments?
Well, I haven't had a buyer in my car in probably 15 years, if not longer. And I only go on some of my listing appointments. There's 2 kinds of listings that I get. The ones I can't live without, and then all the others. And the ones I can't live without, I go on with my listing partner.
So Zach, as we get ready to present some of the marketing ideas, how much in the last 30 years of your time and how much have you invested in figuring out how to be better and how to generate real listing opportunities? I know you're a conference junkie. You go to things. I mean, have you ever thought about that? Like, how much have you really invested in becoming an expert at this? This isn't something you just woke up one day and said, I'm good at.
Well, I've invested a lot of money over the years, but I've then earned a lot of money. And so my Getting Listings program is really the best thing that I do, the best thing I've ever done. It's really all about continuing to do it. And sometimes I get busy with other stuff and I sort of slip or slide, but I am back on a very consistent path because as we move into a changing market, I just want to be sure that I have the listings.
Love that. I love that. So let's jump in and let's start talking about them. Tell us about the home price report request. Where do people find this? What's the marketing thought behind it?
So I send out these postcards every month, and I'm pretty consistent with it so far this year. I've gone through stages where I send out postcards, but then I have too many listing leads to keep up with, and then I slow it down. The great thing about these postcards is that it doesn't ask the buyer or doesn't ask the homeowner, do you want to sell your home? All it's saying is if you're curious about what your home is worth and you're thinking about selling in the next 6 to 12 months, go to the home price report website. So I have about 200 different landing pages for different buildings, different neighborhoods. So this is where one would register. And so the right side is just the bottom. And so I have all these landing pages that automatically every month change the month. And when you sign up, then I get to the registration. I know exactly what you signed up for. Then I start, I'll send you a CMA. And then every month, I send out the cloud CMA. It's 20 to 40 pages. It's very impressive. We just pull it out of the MLS, mail it right out to the seller, And then every month thereafter, I just continue to send a summary page with, I think is the next slide. So yeah, so every month we have the envelope printed with the new month on it, and then there's 4 documents in the inside it. If you would go to the next slide, there's the cover letter. The cover letter is the same every 12 months and has been for the last 10 years. So I just rotate through 12 cover letters, and I rotate through 10 newsletters, and no one has ever said, this is the same one I got 12 months ago. And
I got to understand that a little bit better. So what you're saying is you created 12 months worth of newsletters and 12 cover letters, and you've been running the same ones every year. For how many years have you been running the same ones?
Over 10 years. Now,
so are you getting that, Trish?
I'm getting it.
This is actually a system through gettinglistings.com. So I didn't write the newsletter. I didn't write the cover letter. It's a very turnkey program that, as long as you follow the steps and you don't deviate. I spent too many years trying to make it better, or saying, well, that's not what happens in my market. It doesn't matter. None of it matters. It just goes out. And so then if you go to the next slide, and then this is the only thing that's new every month. So my VA in the Philippines goes into the MLS, downloads the data from the last 6 months on this particular building, and we send it over to a printer to print stuff in the envelope and mail out.
I love that. So how do you turn listings into more listings?
Well, it's called the Listing Multiplier. And so one way of turning a listing into more listings is you send out the just listed postcard. And it says, do you know what your neighbors did at Buckhead Gallery? Or do you know what your neighbors at Buckhead Gallery did last night? And this is all part of the turnkey system. And it just goes on that we've listed the property, and then this is the back side of it. And so it allows more people to register for my home price reports. And that just puts one more person on my list. At the very end, I'll have all the numbers on how many people are getting this. So this is the just listed postcard. And then I think the next one is the open house postcard. Okay, so this is an open house and just listed postcard. So I hold this house open Sunday. So I'm going after the high-rise market in Atlanta. And so I hold the first and usually the only open house in a high-rise because I want to meet more sellers. So I send out postcards to everyone in the building that we're holding it open. There's a company down in Florida called Prospect Plus, and they can turnkey the card in less than 10 days. So when at my open house, I had 15 residents out of the 200 in the building come to the open house. I only had one buyer come in, and they were, it wasn't what they were looking for, but I got 15 more homeowner email addresses. So that works out. And then the next card.
So before you go to the next slide, can I ask you a question? Because my curiosity gets me, and the first thing is, so Zach, none of your marketing is all about how great you are. Like none of it's about Zach.
Right. Well, it's really like stealth marketing. See, it's not about me at all. And you can see the very bottom line on the right side postcard. By law has to have my name and company name. And
so it's like you do the minimum required. It's kind of interesting.
Right. There's no font size requirement in Georgia. It's just it must be I must disclose who I am.
Can I ask you another question I have for you, just real quick? Go ahead. What were you going to say, and then I'll ask.
I just added this. Check out the Zach team on Google reviews because we have well over 150 Google reviews, and they're all great. And so I like people to go to Google reviews better than Zillow, even though I have more Zillow reviews, because Google knows that they're looking me up, and then that just adds to the organic juice. Plus, they're not going to find every other agent in Zillow.
Love that. The other question I had for you is when you what's your average sale price? So you're going after these high-rise downtown Atlanta apartment complexes. What is your average sales price? Is this a high-level, high-end thing? Is it a mid-level market, low-end?
Well, no, these aren't apartments. These are all owned condominiums.
Right, condos. That's what I meant.
There's 60 buildings that I'm working, and so the prices. There's a couple of low-end buildings that I don't go after, but some of these units go up as high as $4 million. Now, of course, I haven't had one yet at $4 million, but I'm hoping.
And so this marketing in going after condos that are what, 800,000 and up? I mean, what's your kind of your range?
Well, probably the average is about 400,000.
I mean, that's nice. I mean, 400,000 and up is a decent sales price. Yeah. And it's interesting. A lot of people think they have to have all this luxury look and feel with swirlies on it. And you're finding that this design and this style, does the yellow and black have anything to do with your success rate?
Yes, because I've done the A/B test on what I thought were nicer colors, and it didn't work.
Very interesting. And so when you take a listing in a building, they get a just listed, here's what your neighbors did last night. They listed with me. And then you do an open house. Now this is your just sold?
Yeah, this is my just sold. Your neighbors in unit 1030 got exactly what they deserved, and it can happen to you next.
Great line.
And you may be surprised when you find out. And so we're going towards to get more people into our mailing list. So then there's this part of the program, which I didn't even mention, which is called a market maker. So in this particular building, Plaza Midtown, I've got about 60 seller leads in the building. And about 2 years ago, I sent out a market maker email to all 60 people that said, we have a buyer that has seen all the units in the building, and we're wondering whether you or anyone you know is thinking about making a move because she really wants the building. And we have double-ended a number of condominiums that way.
Love that. I love that marketing piece.
That we're not on the market. It's called a market maker. So this right here is my past client monthly postcard. And so this is 6.5 by 11.45 inches. So it's a lot bigger than the screen. And so part of the Getting Listings program includes getting this world's most interesting postcard facts. And you're really supposed to send it out to your top 100. That's part of the program. But I include it on this postcard and I send it out to about 2,900 past clients.
Is this a monthly or quarterly?
No, it's monthly.
Okay.
Yeah. And it also announces my Pi Day. I have a Pi Day, 2 Pi Days a year, the day before the Thanksgiving. And this year we're doing 2 days before the 4th of July. So
love it.
This right here is the getting buyers part of the getting listings deal. I think that, or at least maybe you can scroll up a little bit more. I think there's more down there. So this is a no. If you go back to the previous, so this is a full page ad that we run in 4 local free tabloids. And here we're, if you're looking for an amazing view in an Atlanta high rise, read this. So I have published this guide, but the best part of these ads is when I go on a listing appointment and I let the seller know that most agents won't even start looking for your buyer until about 3 days after they, entered into the MLS, where I've been looking for your buyer for over 6 months. And so that has impressed more people, more sellers than I can imagine. We just listed a a one-bedroom condo for like $599. That we got it because he loved this ad. And so what it is, it's offering the Summer Guide to Atlanta high-rises. And if you go to the next slide, I think that, why don't you click on Atlanta high-rises and see if we can open that link.
Probably in my other window here.
Okay, so this is a 11 by 17 high-rise guide. And so if you flip the page, well, yeah, to get to some of the buildings. Okay, so here are all the buildings in Atlanta, in Midtown, Buckhead, and downtown. And now, if you click on the 12, if you click on the building, it'll take you to my Boomtown site where it shows you the properties that are active and have recently sold. Now, if you want, well, let's go to another building that has a lot more activity.
Go to a different building, okay?
Yeah,
Pick.
Okay, 1010 Midtown, that was the postcard. So if you click on the building, it'll have all the units for sale, as well as the ones that have sold in the last 30 days. And so the digital version of the news or the guide has been very, very popular, and people really love it. But we do, when they sign up for the guide, we do send out a I think it's about 80 pages, even though it's 40 sheets of paper, and we print that internally actually on our new copier.
I think it's brilliant.
Thank you. That again, that goes back to, so if you were doing a neighborhood, you would do different parts of the neighborhood or different price ranges in the neighborhood. So you can do the guide on anything, whether it be a high rise or not. High rises, if you're in a city with a lot of high rises, they are so easy to sell and they're so easy to price because most of these buildings have 325 to 400 units, and everything in the stack is the exact same. So they're just real easy to price, and they're easy to sell, and you don't have to deal with signs and lock boxes and yada, yada, yada. So I'm really getting into our high-rise market.
I love that you're so focused on that. I think there's a lot of people that have high rises, but they don't understand the laser-like focus it is on just working that part of the business. Zach, is it okay for a team to do high rises and also have a division that does single-family homes?
Oh yeah. I mean, oh yes. Well, I'm going to once I get this totally up and running, we're actually building a high-rise website, and once we get that up and running, which we've been working on for a couple of months, I'm going to start doing a guide to new or nearly new homes in old established neighborhoods because of all the tear downs all over Atlanta.
Right. There's so much going on in every major market. So who produces this for you?
Well,
the digital guides.
Well, this right here is through Issue, but I have a virtual assistant in Vancouver, British Columbia, that did this. We got him all the work, all the data, but he actually put it together for us.
It looks beautiful.
Thank you.
So talk to me about how well it works. Give me your numbers.
Okay, so so the numbers that I have are for 17 months. January of last year through the end of May. So
that's current.
Yeah. So I invested $88,544. The income was $313,701. I sent out 149,000 postcards, and I've mailed out 7,183 CMAs, and I have 4 listings currently. Now, it probably would be a lot higher, but we got too busy and we weren't really following up with the leads. The actual getting listing program says You give them what you want. You give them what they want. And when they're ready, they raise their hand. So last year, we sold a property to someone that was getting a CMA from us for 10 years, the monthly summary sheet. So I think if you go to the next slide, it'll tell you how many seller leads I have. I hope it does.
It doesn't.
Ooh, ouch. So we have about 1,700 seller leads. And so we just, keep sending them stuff and keep sending them stuff. And then they just raise their hand and say, come out and list me. Because they've been getting our stuff for so long. And even though they may have never returned our phone calls, or even if we've never called them enough, they do raise their hand.
That's a lot of leads. I don't know what you do with 1,700 listing leads. I know Trish will have some ideas on that. The key is you got to build your team. Somebody asked what a listing partner was, Zach. Do you mind answering that?
A listing partner is the agent who does all the work. I co-list all my properties with one agent or the other. And when I go on the CMA or the listing presentation, I always let the seller know that I make them do all the work, and then I giggle, and they giggle, and they said, you should. And then they never see me again.
So a listing partner's job is to describe their role. Is it prospecting, listing houses, and negotiating the contract?
Yes, yes. Each of them has about 12 listings right now. And I know that this week we're probably closing out about 6 listings, and we have lots of listings that are in the coming soon stage. So they do all the listing. And then, but I have a staff, so they're listing agents, and we call them listing partners. And then my buyer agents, we call selling partners.
Love it. Yeah, I think people like to work with a partner. I like the selling partner as opposed to buyer's agent. It sounds more prestigious, and it sounds like they have ownership. You feel like you're dealing with a decision maker. So Zach, a couple questions real quick just from the group, and I appreciate everybody being engaged, and we're going to introduce Trish. One of the other ones is you've shown a lot of different resources for doing things. Name some of those resources. You have like getlistings.com right here. You talked about Issue.
That's gettinglistings.com. And Issue is just a online tabloid. And so you can go there, and I can't remember. There's a free version, but I didn't want ads on mine. And then Prospects Plus is the vendor in Florida that can get a postcard out in less than 10 days. And we use them for our jumbo postcards for open houses. Otherwise, I have other printers that I use.
So Zach, how long have you been a Workman coaching client?
God, it seems like forever. Probably 5 or 6 years.
I know it's been a while. You're still in coaching. Are you still getting value?
Oh yeah, every day. Every day.
Well, what would you say to the people that are on this call that have done a coaching consult? They're trying to figure out if coaching works for them, or if it makes sense, if they should get a Workman coach. I mean, what kind of an impact has it made on you personally?
Well, I think that every real estate agent that really wants to prosper needs a system. They need to follow that system. And I have definitely gone through, different real estate coaches over the years, but I definitely know that Workman is the best with just all the resources that are available, and the coaches are the best. I know that my coach is a real estate agent, is a big team leader, and he's in the field every day, and anyone that I refer to you has always thanked me. So and then there's Leverage, which is every January, which is the annual event, which is also fabulous. So
I appreciate that.
I highly recommend. And Burl's such a nice guy.
I'm going to send you your box of brownies, and thank you for sharing. It's just important. A lot of people can't decide, you know what I mean? They go through this process, they see all these wonderful things, they don't realize how much an impact it can have to have someone looking at your business from a different perspective. And talking of coaches, and speaking of coaches, before anybody ever becomes a coach, they're first a client, and they have to be a exceptional client. And I want to introduce to everybody Trish Nash. Trish is one of my favorite people in the entire world. She lives in Las Vegas, Nevada, just outside of Las Vegas, Nevada. And I met Trish. Trish was one of both Trish and Zach were two of our original coaching clients when we started Workman Success System. And so they've been with us since we started the company. Trish is a certified Workman coach, which is really cool. She's constantly and consistently among the top 10 in Clark County real estate professionals. She runs a great business. She's recognized by Wall Street Journal in overall transaction sales, and she's one of the leading broker and team leaders nationwide, not just in her little market, but across the country. I love that Trish is also bilingual. She speaks in Spain. If she's not selling real estate in Las Vegas, she's trying to figure out how she can get back over to the country that she really loves, so she can get out there and enjoy biking and seeing the things that are out there. She's got an unbelievable pedigree. She's a smart lady. What I love most about Trish, though, is the impact she makes on the people that she surrounds herself with, whether it's her husband Michael or her team members or the people in the community. And so she volunteers with the city of Henderson. She's part of the she's on the Chamber of Commerce. It makes a big difference in her community, and that's really not only paid huge dividends for her, but it also gives her an opportunity to give back. One of the things I love about all of our clients is the way that they focus on making a difference in the business and the lives of the people that they touch. So Trish, thank you for being here. I appreciate you being willing to share, and let's have a little bit of fun telling everybody how you kill it out there in the world.
Buenos dias.
No comprende.
Good morning, or good afternoon to those of you on the East Coast and the Midwest. Well, thank you so much, Earl. You're very, very kind.
So, Trish, one of the things that I love about Trish is that when I first met Trish, she was making a huge, major transition in her business from being one of the top real estate REO agents in the world, really. You know, imagine being in the downturn in Las Vegas and all of the distressed property. Trish went out there and she built a phenomenal company. How much business were you doing at the top of your market in REO business, Trish?
I was closing about 525 units a year myself personally. Now I did not have a team at that time. So I
want you to imagine what that looks like, everybody. That's crazy. That's crazy. And so going from being the distressed queen and handling all of these bank home properties to completely transitioning your brand, your image, to go after more of an upscale market. How easy is that transition, Ben? And what are some of the things that you had to conscientiously do to make that switch?
Well, Zach, thank you so much for what you shared, because that was just so I learned so much. I was taking notes. But I had a laugh when he said it was stealth marketing, because when you look at what I'm doing, I'm certainly not stealth marketing. It's quite the opposite. And so what I decided to do was I decided that I needed to have a brand. And I decided I was going to put a team together, and that was thank you to Burl, because I did not have a team. I mean, if you can just imagine, now this was before Zillow, but if you can imagine that all we had was Realtor.com at the time when we had all these REOs, and I would get all these Realtor.com inquiries for buyers to my email, and all I did, it was very simple, just press delete, press delete, press delete. And just think of the hundreds of buyers that I literally just put in my trash bin in my computer, because I didn't have the desire, the resources, the manpower. I didn't have the team set up. And so then I started working with Verl, and he literally was the lifesaver that helped me realize that I had a sinking ship. I didn't know that it was sinking because I was making very, very good money. And but I started to see the transition in the market, and I started to be concerned, because now what do I do? So I actually met with somebody that was a luxury brand specialist. They came to my office. They looked at my signs. They looked at everything because I thought I wanted to be in the luxury market. But what I learned from that, and I paid a great deal of money to do this, but what I learned from it was invaluable. And that was when I started really digging in, he gave me some assignments. And one of those assignments was to look at the number of luxury properties that were closing. And so at the time we were talking about probably 750 or above versus the other price points. And what I saw was there were very, very few luxury properties that were closing in our market. And so what he helped me to see was that if I go after that market, there's a lot of resources that I'm going to have to spend on the upper end properties, but very few closings are going to take place. So then I decided that I was going to go into a different price point, the price point that the masses are going to go to, but yet I still wanted to be at a higher level. So what we did was if you look at this is a billboard that I live in Henderson, Nevada, and as you drive to the east side of Henderson, which is where I focus on, you will see this billboard as you enter into that area. But if you look at the logo, Trish Nash, he designed that logo for me, and the color concept. And my signs are all very similar to that. But what I decided I was going to do was to focus on that price point just right under the 750 mark, but yet I would have the luxury feel. So when I go into a listing appointment, I have my listing presentation in a binder, and I bring them a little gift. I bring them a little jar of jelly beans with my branded ribbon on it. But everything that I'm doing now, I'm branding my name. So when you move to the next item.
Sorry.
Well, okay. So you'll see my picture there, and you're going to notice that on everything that I do, it has my picture on it because I want to be consistent in the branding. So one of the things that I do is I do a lot of postcards in the areas that I farm. And so this is an example of one of them. And then we could go on to the next one. So this is interesting. This is a postcard. It's not pretty at all. But what it shows is in this community, these are all the homes that I sold, that just listed, coming soon. And then of course at the bottom, I always have a call to action. And from this postcard, I actually got 7 calls and 6 listings when this was received by homeowners. And once again, it's not a pretty postcard, but people saw that, wow, there's action happening with the Trish Nash team.
I love that it's very focused on a neighborhood. So it's in Tuscany.
Yes, and it's a neighborhood that actually a lot of agents don't want to sell in because you're not allowed to have signs. And once again, this is another postcard. And the reason I'm showing you all of these is just to show you the consistency. Now, one of the things that I don't do is I don't use the template type of postcards. So this does require some extra work. It does require that these be created, but I'll go into how I send these out in a little bit.
One of the things I think is interesting, Trish, as you talk about this and you look at the difference between your marketing and Zach's, is Zach has a very direct marketing feel to it. Yours has a warm, it's about, it's Trish is going to be taking care of you feel towards it. Both are very different styles, but both have amazing success. And so, one thing that I'm hearing from both of you is that the consistency in the way you do things matter, and that you're both testing and you're both seeing what works. It's not whether one's right or one's wrong. It's that you pick one and just stick with it and you're consistent with it.
Right. Well, one of the things that I see in my market, it's so standard for agents to send a postcard just listed and then they have the property. Well, big deal. There's no call to action. there's nothing that's going to entice me to want to call them. And although Zach's was very stealth, it was very unique in it, and it was very creative. So there has to be some creativity in it. And then once again, so because I continued to farm this particular community, Tuscany, with, once again, agents don't like this community because you can't put signs out. I decided I was going to capitalize on that. So I focus on it. And but now, if you were to look at the stats, you'll see that I do sell more homes than any other agent in Tuscany. So I thought, well, why don't I share that with the world?
Right. I love that.
So I'm sure all of you have the online app in your neighborhood called Nextdoor. And so what they do once a year is they have a contest. And if you set up your name as a business, they want you to get as many comments from people and reviews from people. And then whoever that is, whoever gets the most will win for their community. So I did this, and I think I got like 50 some reviews, and the next closest one was 11 reviews. So then what I
love that.
Well, I just use this for marketing because everybody around Las Vegas uses Nextdoor in their community. So I thought, well, why don't I just, advertise that?
Do you use Nextdoor app, Zach? Have you ever played with that?
Yes, and we probably have 50 reviews there as well.
Yeah, it's so funny when I saw this slide and you were going to talk about this last week. My daughter Brianne, who's been looking for a particular house in a particular neighborhood, hasn't been able to get nothing goes on the market. So she went into the Nextdoor app and said, "Hey, who wants to sell their house? I'm like personally looking, and this is my criteria." And she had all these people respond that they're getting ready to put their house on the market. And so she's generated all these listing leads as well as a potential property that she may want to buy. So it's been really interesting that like it's a free app. Like, what does it cost you to do that? It costs you the time and the focus to actually do something with it. I love that you're both using that. Trish, great.
And then once again, just another postcard, but I want you guys to just see the consistency in the branding, in the logo, and I always use the same picture. And then, another one here, just that I had a cash buyer in one day, and call to action. You always need a call to action.
What I'm looking at is how clean and how clear and how great your photography is. This is not a drive-by shooting with your iPhone.
Oh no, I have a professional photographer, and I want to share something now that you bring that up. So one of the things I noticed was some of the real high-end luxury agents had beautiful photos in my market. And so what I did one night was I looked to see who they were, because if you really dig, you can see they might have a little logo on the photo. And so I called a couple of them, and one of them was kind enough. He said, "Listen, I said, I don't sell multi-million-dollar homes, but I love your photography." He said, "Well, I can take any home that you have and I can make it look like $1 million." And so that was 4 years ago, and I've been working with him ever since. And he has, it's like my secret sauce to the photography.
Love that.
So all these postcards are something called Core Fact, which I'm sure many of you have heard about. But what happens is, on the opposite side of the postcard, they're given a code. And so they can go in to see their home price as soon as they do that. And it's very similar to what Zach is doing on his side, is they are then going to be asked to put in their name, their phone number, or their email address. And I immediately, it's like a call capture, I immediately get all their information, and now I can reach, and that is, and by continuing to reach out to them, that's how I'm going to stay in front of them and get listings.
I love the consistency. Everything you do looks the same, has the same look and feel all the way across it. I love it.
So, and I put this because I wanted you to see the pricing. So I do the jumbo because I feel that it's important to have a larger size postcard, not just a standard size postcard. So for example, typically in each of the areas, I'm either sending 1,000 or 2,000, and it will show you the pricing down there. And I do the standard mail, and then it gives you the ability to do a custom front. They have a lot of templates, a lot of very, very cool templates. So if you don't have somebody that can create it for you, you can certainly utilize all the templates that they have. So highly recommend Corfact.
I love that. So you were asking a question about, somebody asked me a question. I was thinking about this. You automate your processes. So when somebody requests a CMA, are you manually going in and doing a CMA, or is it going out automated?
I don't have that set up, and I learned that from Zach. Now I've got to find out how he does that. Well, actually, yes, I do, but I haven't been happy with the system because of the uniqueness of all of these neighborhoods. What I'm utilizing, it does it within a certain mile radius, and it skews the values. So I have to manually do it right now. But
yeah.
Yes, but Corfact will give a value. But once again, when I follow up with them, I make sure that they understand that that value is nothing more than something like Zillow, where it's a guesstimate.
It's a talking point, and it requires you to come out and see the home and qualify them and then get the appointment. I love it.
Right.
So when you're doing your mailers, and I'll get to a point where I ask both of you, but Trish, do you use first class mail? Do you use every door direct? What are you using to send your mailers for consistency?
Well, I'm using through Corfact. That price that I just showed you, that's them sending it out standard mail, and that includes the postage. So they handle.
So that's the card and the postage. Oh, yeah. That's cheap.
Yeah. Yep.
Love that. I love it.
Okay, so now I want to talk a little bit about different type of branding and marketing, and that is the community involvement that I do with myself and my team. And I've made it a very, very conscious effort to be involved in the community. And I'm on the executive board of directors with our Henderson Chamber, and volunteer with the city of Henderson, and have been on my president of an HOA board for 10 years, and so on and so forth, really, really getting involved. And so, that is a way that I also brand our name and brand our company. So I cannot tell you, all the city employees, every single city employee, well, almost every, when they drive to the city hall to go to work, they pass my billboard. And so this billboard has just been so powerful. I was very reluctant to do it, but it has been the best use of my marketing dollars every month.
Okay, so you and I had this conversation a while ago, and you talked to me a little bit about, billboards in Las Vegas are brutally expensive. They're immigration attorneys, injury lawyers, casinos. There's a high demand for people in that metropolitan, that downtown city of Las Vegas. This is actually in the community. Is there a big difference financial? What do you spend for a billboard like this in your community?
Oh my gosh. So if I were to do a billboard in Las Vegas, it would probably run me about $7,000 to $10,000 a month. This is $2,500 a month. And
wow.
It's worth its weight in gold. I mean, it's huge. This thing, I don't even know how many feet it is. It is so huge. And just the other day, I just got a listing as a result of that. So this is a ribbon cutting. And I only show you this because this allows me, going to ribbon cuttings in our community, our mayor's there. In fact, I'm standing right next to the mayor. She's to the left of me, and various city council people. And so that is another way that I'm continually branding myself, is by involvement with the community. And then this is myself, and you'll see I'm a sponsor for the Henderson Chamber, and that's myself, and that is the mayor of Henderson and my husband at an event.
Whoops, went the wrong way.
So I do a lot of events, and oh my gosh, I'm embarrassed that you guys are seeing me in spandex, but we do what we must do. So this is Discovering the Future of Henderson. So we decided on a space type of a theme, and this was at a, there were probably about 500 vendors, booths there, and we were the hit. That's the mayor with the glasses on, a few city council people. Everybody wanted those glasses. It was like everybody was swarming to our booth.
I love it. I love it because you stand out. It's fun. It's not about buy real estate, but it's about being part of that, being part of something big.
This was an event, a big charity event. I went to my Mercedes dealer, asked him if he would donate a Mercedes. He said, "I'm sorry, but yeah," he called me back. "Yeah, I can donate a Mercedes," and that's it's automated for kids. And so, you know, we got some nice publicity through that, and you know, once again, community involvement.
I love that. Come to my open house, win a Mercedes. There's a lot of fun things you can do with that. I love it.
Okay, so if any of you are hockey followers, you've probably heard about the Las Vegas Golden Knights. So what we decided to do was to do a hockey theme. And so you'll see we have hockey jerseys on. We took the Trish Nash team and made it into a TNT logo in the shape of a house. And if you go to the next slide at our booth, well, there's our mascot. His name is Sold. Everybody wanted to be with Sold. And the next slide is, of course, Sold again. And then people wanted pictures with Sold. So we put that all over social media. It was awesome. And then we got some interaction with people. So this was the, they had to put the puck there between my legs, and that's the president of one of our big colleges. People were standing in line, and if you look in the back, it says, "Go with a winning team," the Trish Nash team.
I love that. Zach, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing you in your hockey jersey and people shooting a hockey puck right between the legs. That's a risky move right there.
And then this is just, you know, a picture, and then Go Knights Go. That we put it on social media. And then lastly, what we did was we decided to use an ice cream theme. So at some events that we went to, we had a booth, and we had gourmet ice cream sundaes that we were giving out. And we had little plastic scoops that we gave out that had the Trish Nash team branded on it. And in the back, there was a big banner that said, "We've got the scoop on Lake Las Vegas." And we had branded aprons, and we had so much fun. And I will tell you that I have gotten at least 5 listings as a result of this recently.
Wow.
Yep.
It's fun to see all of the business that happens through different types of events. How important are just the community events? People don't think about those enough in real estate. Trish, how often do you do events, and how many do you do?
Well, we do at least one a month. Next month, we're doing a 4th of July cruise. Verl, I think you were on the cruise for Michael's birthday. So there was,
right.
There's a yacht in the community that I serve called Lake Las Vegas. And so there's going to be a yacht, and we're going to have a little area upstairs where we're going to give ice cream sundaes to people. And so we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to, in fact, after this, I'm meeting with my marketing guy, and we're going to go over, you know, what we need for that. But, you know, we're going to utilize the same aprons and a lot of the same things. We're just going to do some branded flags and, you know, some things like that. But I have to tell you, so I want to thread back into the REO to luxury. So last month I took a listing for 3.8 million. And that was not my goal. It was not, because I told you guys, my goal was to stay in that tier of where the masses go. But just as a result of continually being involved in the community, having that luxury look in my marketing, is people assume that all I do is high end. I just had somebody ask me yesterday, they said, you know what, Trish, I know you probably don't deal in my price point, but is there somebody that can help me? And I said, absolutely. But see, people assume because of how I've created the marketing to be.
I love that. I love elephant hunting, and even though it's not your target, when business comes in like that, it's such a cool thing. You know, one of the things that Trish and Zach both have in common is that, you know, they both go after different niches in the market, but they both have consistency in everything they do, and they're both part of Workman, which I think is kind of cool. For those of you on this call, I want you to imagine every Friday on a coach training call having 50 people like Trish and Zach sharing best practices, what's working, masterminding, what's not working, challenges they have with their clients, and then going back and then helping their clients be able to build their businesses. What kind of value has that been for you as a coach, Trish? How has that changed the way you look at your own business while you're helping others?
Well, I have to admit that, so the calls are at 8:30 Mountain Time, which means it's 7:30 Pacific Time. So that was a real challenge for me, because that really goes right into my workout time. And how am I going to accomplish all that I want to do and then do that? And so I got on one of the calls and tried it out, and then the next one. And I will tell you, I don't ever want to miss them. They are absolutely just so valuable, the information that I get. But more importantly was where I started from with Workman, and that was the coaching process. And I am so grateful for the all that I've learned through being coached, the systems that I've been able to implement, the team that I've been able to build, and which has then given me more quality of life, because now I can do the things that I enjoy doing. And Burl, I just want to add this real quick. Yesterday, I met with somebody from the city of Henderson. They're putting together a speakers bureau, and I was invited to be on their speakers bureau because they want me to talk to represent them in talking about their strategic plan to big organizations and big corporations. And that's just going to open so many doors for me to be able to get in front of high-level executives. So I just feel so blessed for that opportunity.
I love that. I saw your inquiry on speaker training coming up in August. That's going to be a fun thing as we help you get better and better at that.
Yes.
So real quick, guys, before you get, I'm going to ask Zach and Trish to give some final thoughts to everybody, but I want everybody to write this website down. Go to workmansuccess.com/marketing, where both Trish and Zach have given samples of some of their marketing, what they do. We included a 7-day indoctrination series of follow-up emails for people that are inquiring on properties or internet leads that come in that we get massive conversion with. And this is where you can also sign up for a free business consultation where you can meet with one of our business consultants. So look at where you are in your business and see if there's a fit. There may or may not be an opportunity for us to work together today, but for those of you that are thinking that Zach and Trish are pretty exceptional people, we have a I'm going to call it a stable full of amazing coaches that are doing the business like these two do it, and they're out there helping people, and they're making massive impact on the agents that we serve. And so I encourage you to get involved with Workman at some level. Just one last question for each of you. If there were 2 or 3 things that you would recommend that that every agent does right now to make sure that they have a great September, October, November. You know, people get in their busy selling season of the year right now, and they take their foot off the gas from all of their marketing and prospecting and things that they do. What would be a few things that you would recommend that everybody does going forward, and that will make the biggest difference on their 3rd and 4th quarters? Zach, and then we'll go Trish.
Well, the first thing is, I think, just consistency, and lead follow-up is so incredibly important. Using your success tracker will help someone determine whether they're doing real work or fake work. And I've learned a lot about that with my team members turning them in. I know it's all online, but I have my team members fill it out by hand. I created booklets, and they just take a picture of it and email it to me every night. And so, and just, get some listings. Sign up for the gettinglistings.com program. Very simple. Now, no one has to do it on the scale that I do it. I just like a lot of business. But
yeah,
I mean, you could do one neighborhood at a time, 1,000 people. But
love that.
So let me just finish with this. Let's see. Go to bed. Get up early. Go to bed late. Work like hell and advertise.
I love that. Trish, couple of parting thoughts. Like, what should I do now? By the way, lots of thank yous on the message board saying thank you for being here. Thank you for being so willing to share. It's been a great webinar from both of you. We have a lot of great comments on that. If we didn't answer your questions and you've typed in questions, then our team will follow up with you. Make sure that you suggest a business consult. We'll follow up with you and ask direct questions to Trish and Zach if we haven't been able to finish them. So Trish, couple final thoughts.
Well, I would add to those things that Zach said, getting to bed late and getting up, whatever it was, but prospect. And I would say that for those of you that may say, well, I don't have the resources, the financial resources to be doing all these mailers. I would say then start with your top 50, start making phone calls, start following up with past clients, and really get on the phone and start really interacting with people, because all of us, we're all human, and most of us hate picking the phone up. But I would say if you call those warm leads, call your top 50 past clients, I think that you're gonna have a great fall. And for those of you that do want to implement marketing, I want to tell you one thing. I've been doing farming since I started real estate, and I will never stop it. And most agents do it a few times and they say it doesn't work, and then they stop. You got to continue to do it.
That is great advice. Once you start, don't stop. I tell people you got to go 18 months, because it takes 18 months. And at the end of 18 months, if you go that long, you'll never stop it again. And I think that's great advice from both of you. On behalf of Workman Success Systems and everybody on our team to help put this webinar together, the support team, the people that created the PowerPoint deck and the slides, we appreciate all your hard work. Zach Pasmanic, Trish Nash, thank you for being here. Thank you for being exceptional and being willing to give back. And everybody else, I wish you the best of success as we get into the busy selling season. If you're not cranking right now, or you're cranking but you need help, reach out and let's get you a coach, and we can help you do great things as well. Talk to you all soon. Thanks again for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.